kind of a political and economic turmoil for the next few years, which are going to limit, I think, growth prospects, particularly on the export side. Particularly when you also add in the central bank divergence, where you've got the U.S. Federal Reserve is increasing interest rates, everybody else is zero and negative interest rates. That means the dollar is going to get stronger. It's going to weaken our competitive position globally. So the other factor, of course, is this anti-globalization sentiment, which has been expanding and certainly is getting heightened with the election cycle, where we tend to want to blame everything on globalization at this point. It's the erosion of the labor force and jobs lost overseas, migration issues in Europe. So I think all of that sentiment works against the export potential for agriculture, and I think that's important because agriculture is increasingly dependent on the export markets.
I spoke today about the forces that are coming down on food and agriculture, both from consumers that are expanding their preferences for what they want to see from us as an industry, as well as the natural resource and extreme weather events that are going to continue to affect how we grow our food in the future. So the reality of this all comes to play with the word sustainability, and sustainability means not just environmental aspects of a farm business, but also the social and economic aspects of running that business for years to come. It's getting more traction because it's ultimately a risk management issue. We have to make sure we can secure enough food supply in the next decades to come to actually get what we need to feed people while not depleting our natural resources. So we're seeing that play out in a number of different communications and marketing with consumers, and they are socially conscious, so they also desire that same product, and it can be a win-win at the end of the day.
The debate about social audits in the produce industry and for growers, shippers, to the retailers who are, kind of closer to the public than the other growers are, and talk a lot about whether they're needed, where the pressure is coming from, the threat of it being used as a UFW tool to organize, which is not acceptable for the growers in California. And also the need to be able to perhaps use something like that to tell the ag story that, we need for our national interest a vibrant domestic food supply. There's nothing wrong with hard work, that the good relationship between the farmer and the farm worker. We do have the highest standard in labor regulations than any state in the United States and probably in the world. So, I think that other states could learn from us. Agriculture in California has come a long, long way.
California's politics really turned left in the 1990s after the end of the Cold War, when Los Angeles County turned left because of the end of the Cold War. And that tended to tilt the entire state. And so now you have a total Democratic dominance of all facets of politics in California. But up until then, the Republicans were quite viable. And in fact, they won 8 or 10 of the top of the ticket elections in California between 1980 and 1990. But the last 20 years have seen the virtual demise of the Republican Party, the solidification of Democratic control, and coincidentally a kind of a fracturing of the Democrats into several different sub-factions. I don't think that agriculture will regain even a portion of the influence it once had in California politics unless it makes alliances with other groups and particularly business groups, and cultivates their own group of democratic, farm-friendly Democrats, the way the business community has cultivated business-friendly Democrats.
Agricultural water supplies are going to be somewhat reduced, but we need to develop optimum strategies to try and sustain groundwater and to use surface water collectively together to get an optimum level of agricultural production.
So I am an agribusiness major. I'm not quite decided, but I am looking into food safety. So I think I came at the right moment to see the audits presentation and learn a little bit more about that and how Save Mart actually buys its products from certain retailers that follow all those standards.
The biggest thing for agriculture right now is we need to stay sustainable and feed our people. I'm a 4th generation farmer, so I come from a small family farm to where we farm multiple commodities. Food safety, the guidelines that these people have to meet, like the packers, the shippers, the trucks, the guidelines are stricter than they have ever been in California, not only to make sure the quality's high, but to make sure you're meeting the standards.